Guys, welcome back. Let's get started. So last week we pretty much rallied into resistance, came back down to support, and once again rallied into resistance. So pretty sideways, choppy week. So this week, right, it's pretty standard. If again this 3900 area that we've discussed is primarily the most important level, 3920, right? The market right now, you can see this is the trend line holding its resistance, right? So the market right now we need to break out base to, go test 4048 before the next move, right? Otherwise, right, if the market just cannot break over this level, right, it's most likely going to fail, come back down, right? Come back down to where right now you can see that we bounced at 3787 and the CPI move only started at 37450-ish, right? So we come back down to test that 3750 demand level. Worst case, we come back to the 3700 demand level, which we bounced off of, right? So pretty much a move back down to the bottom of this channel, holding a support before it bounces higher. So yeah, the market kind of needs to tell us, right? We'll kind of find out today whether we, reject this and actually move down lower, or whether we actually break out and we start the new leg higher. Either way, right? I still firmly believe we still have another C wave to the upside, right? It's just a matter of, are we going to break this downtrend or not? And another interesting thing to keep in mind is the dollar is actually kind of in a falling wedge, right? So if the dollar, again, we know that this level of 104.5 is kind of the level we've been looking at for a while. So we know dollar is on support. So if the dollar, we know that it's been basing sideways, right? If the dollar has some kind of breakout move, right, before it comes back down, then the market very likely, as we were looking at it, right, would reject, come back to test this lower level before it goes higher. So yeah, keep a close eye on the dollar. It's kind of, at an interesting level. With that being said, we can kind of look at this week's watch list, right? The first one that I have for this week is Apple. And again, I want to discuss this closely, right? The reason for that is, if you look at this, is the trend line that held the support all the way from July 2022, right? June 2022. And that's the reason you can see that every time Apple has wicked here, we did have a major bounce. And you can see that we went to retest this, we failed, and so far we have sold off. So again, it's kind of a crucial point for Apple, right? This very well could still be a bear liquidity trap if Apple, bounces off this level and pushes higher again. For this move to take place, Apple would need to break over this 135, 136 level, right, to progress higher. Alternatively, though, what likely happens once the major trend line breaks, right, is it likely sells off, right? You can see Apple has broken this pennant. So that's the why I have my bear trigger, right? For Apple, you make Apple break this 130, 129.5 level, right? It breaks below this, then the next level of support for Apple isn't until 122. So that's almost like a $7-8 move on Apple. So it would make a very nice short. So yeah, keep a close eye on Apple. Apple tries to recover this channel, and it's very likely going to push up, right? If Apple breaks this trend line, right, and doesn't bounce off of it, this support level, then we're very likely dipping to 122. So Apple could make a good risk to reward both ways. So keep an eye on Apple. Next one I have is Affirm. Again, the reason for this is I do have a trend line here holding a support. We did kind of have an inside day. So as long as it holds above like 8.99, you can kind of see that kind of has some kind of falling wedge, right? That it's broken out of. And you can see it has a major supply at 9.5. If it breaks 9.5, it should, easily push up to 11.5. And that's like a 20% move. So kind of make a nice trade if it manages to break this resistance level. So just kind of wanted to bring Affirm back, on your radar. We look at Boeing next, and I kind of want to discuss two things, right? We know the Boeing weekly is at 195, and that's kind of where we rejected, right? We came back down, and now again, you can see this is the trend line holding a support, right? So if Boeing were to break this trend line around 182, right, then it will very likely, come back down to the support level of 172. However, as you can see, this channel has held, right? So it is completely possible for Boeing to, continue chopping higher sideways, right, before it actually sells off. So yeah, this is only a setup if, put an alert around 182, right? If it were to break this channel, then it would make a very nice move to the downside. So yeah, just kind of keep your eye on Boeing. And the next one I have is UNG, and the reason for that is we've discussed this, right, in our Zoom sessions, and we've discussed how this is an important trend line, and if it were to break below, right, and if it cannot get back into the channel, then it was very likely, you can kind of see that below this level at 15.6, 15.5, it's kind of an empty volume shelf, right, at least still 13, then $12. So it kind of looks, right, if it cannot support above this area and go back up and breaks the support, then it's very likely going to come down below $13. So could make a nice short on UNG. And last but not the least, if the market were to break this trend line, right? If the market were to break this trend line and push higher, then AMD could make a very interesting, right? We know that this is the trend line holding its resistance. We rejected it, right? So AMD could do some kind of scoop pattern, right? That pushes it higher and could kind of make it interesting. And again, QQQ, right, has come down to the 0.786 extension. So again, another inside day, right? If it follows through to the upside, then kind of keep an eye on tech stocks. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day.